Hello, everyone, and welcome. Each week, the Bible helps us understand how faith in Christ shapes the way we live, the way we think, and the way we treat the people around us. Today's lesson focuses on an important theme: how a Christ-centered life transforms our relationships. Our memory text for this lesson is from Colossians chapter 4, verse 6, and it reminds us of the power of our words. Let your speech always be with grace, seasoned with salt, that you may know how you ought to answer each one. In Lesson 12, Living with Each Other, we will explore the counsel that the Apostle Paul gives to believers about living with love, patience, humility, and grace. His message reminds us that faith is not only something we believe, it is something that becomes visible in our everyday actions and interactions with others. To begin, let's now hear from Sarah, who will guide us into today's study.
Thank you, Ryan. Your introduction raised an important thought about what it truly means to live a Christ-centered life. And, perhaps nowhere is that more visible than in the way we treat the people right around us. In the book of Colossians, the Apostle Paul explains how faith in Christ really transforms our relationships, in our homes, with our families, and in our daily interactions. Because when Christ truly lives in our hearts, that change, it just can't stay hidden. So Paul starts with the relationship between husbands and wives. But what's interesting is his instruction isn't just focused on authority, not at all. Instead, he emphasizes balance and love and this idea of mutual care. A Christian home is really meant to be a reflection of Christ's character, a place where relationships are built on respect, on patience, and on sacrificial love. Okay, now this is a verse that, let's be honest, is often misunderstood. It can sometimes cause a lot of confusion, but let's try to look at it through the lens of the original language and, just as importantly, the verses right around it. You see, the key here is that last little part of the phrase, as it is fit in the Lord. That tells us a wife's primary loyalty is always, always to God. The Greek word for submit here is hupotasso. Now, this doesn't mean anything like slavery or being inferior. It's more like voluntarily arranging yourself under someone to yield out of love, not because you're being forced. It's an act of choice, of loyalty, and of trust in a man who is worthy of being followed, a man who himself is following Christ. And notice the balance here. This is so crucial. Paul doesn't just address wives and then move on. He immediately follows up with a really powerful command to husbands. So the wife's role of voluntary respect is perfectly balanced by the husband's command to love and not be bitter or harsh. You have to understand, in the Roman world at that time, this was absolutely revolutionary. Paul is calling for a partnership, not some kind of hierarchy of domination. And if we want to understand the kind of love Paul is talking about, we can look at his letter to the Ephesians. The love he commands is agape, this divine, selfless, sacrificial kind of love. Husbands are called to love their wives the same way Christ loved the church, by serving her, protecting her, and literally giving himself up for her. I mean, a man who loves his wife like that is a man a woman can willingly and joyfully choose to follow. And these same principles of love and respect, they also extend right into the relationship between parents and children. While children are encouraged to obey, parents are given this incredible responsibility. You see, Christian parenting isn't really about strict control, but about guiding children with wisdom and with a whole lot of patience. Notice the specific warning he gives to fathers. They're told not to provoke or exasperate their children. And why? So that they don't become discouraged. This is such a powerful reminder that a parent's role is to build up, to encourage, and to nurture their child's spirit, not to crush it with constant frustration or harsh authority. Ultimately, the goal is to train up a child in the way they should go. It's all about guiding them with love, helping them grow in their own faith, and develop their own strong relationship with God. Children are like sponges. They just absorb the spiritual atmosphere of the home. So, after talking about the home, Paul then broadens the application of these principles out into our public lives, and specifically into our work. The idea is that our faith should shape every single part of our life, not just what happens on a Sabbath morning. Whether we're at home or at work, we are representing Christ. This verse is really the key principle for our work ethic. Our ultimate boss, our ultimate purpose, is serving the Lord. And when you think about it, that perspective changes everything. It means we work with integrity, with kindness and humility, not just to please a human supervisor, but as an act of worship to God himself. And Paul applies this to everyone in the workplace. Employees are told to work with sincerity, not with eye service, just doing the bare minimum or only working hard when the boss is looking. And then employers are reminded to be just and fair because they too are accountable to a master in heaven. It's a powerful call for mutual respect and integrity from top to bottom. So, how do we live all of this out in a practical way? I mean, really day to day. Paul gives us what I think is the master key: the words we use. The way we speak to one another is one of the most powerful indicators of what's truly going on in our hearts. This week's memory verse is such a powerful lesson, isn't it? Our words have this immense influence. They can build people up or they can tear them down. When Christ fills our hearts, our speech becomes more thoughtful, more kind, and wiser, helping us respond to others with grace and with real understanding. Let's break this down a little. Grace is the foundation. That means our words should always flow from a place of kindness. But they also need to be seasoned with salt, which means they have substance, wisdom, and truth. They aren't just bland or pointless. They are both kind and meaningful. So as we think about this lesson, it's really helpful to just pause and ask ourselves a few important questions. This is the part where these teachings move from the page and start to take root in our lives. Let's start right here. In our own homes, with our spouses, our children, our parents, is the love of Christ visible in those relationships, the ones that are closest to us? Now think about your conversations just from the past day or so. Were they seasoned with grace and with salt? Did they build other people up? Or did they maybe tear them down? And finally, let's take a broader look. When people interact with us, do they experience the character of Christ? Because living with Christ isn't just about a personal belief we hold. It's about allowing his character to completely reshape the way we live with other people. Because ultimately, that's the beautiful truth of the gospel. When Christ transforms our hearts, he also, without fail, transforms our relationships. Homes can become places of love and safety. Workplaces can become environments of integrity. And our words can become tools for healing and encouragement, reflecting the one who first loved us.
Thank you for joining us in today's Sabbath School lesson. The message shared by Paul in Colossians reminds us that when Christ lives in our hearts, our relationships begin to reflect his love. Our homes become places of patience and understanding. Our words become filled with grace, and our actions begin to show kindness, humility, and care for others. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell so you never miss any update. And may God bless you as you continue to grow in faith.